And we are back with our weekly News to You stories. A hometown boy made good, 3 more who are about to, and a cringeworthy tale that had the whole nation talking. Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back in time when all of those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week, as a 200-foot crane was being assembled to construct what you now know as the Harbor Center, and when the FDA approved unrestricted sales of Plan B One-Step, the emergency contraception commonly called the morning after pill, the showbiz world was shocked over the sudden death of James Gandolfini, the actor who portrayed the lead character on The Sopranos and who died of a heart attack while vacationing in Italy at age 51. 4 months after being let go by the Sabres, Lindy Ruff was hired as coach of the Dallas Stars, and the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, led by South Buffalo's Patrick Kane, who was named MVP of the NHL playoffs this week in 2013. 20 years ago this week, a Mercy flight helicopter trying to make an emergency landing at the Ford stamping plant clipped a fence and crashed. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Many were celebrating the much-anticipated release of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Kids turned out in droves to get it, many dressed appropriately. The National Chicken Wing Festival was preparing for just its second year, and there was an outbreak of monkeypox, but no governor declaring a state of emergency over it. As more folks were engaging in shopping on computers, the state passed a law banning New Yorkers from ordering cigarettes online. It claimed it was to keep young people from smoking, but as one goateed attorney put it,
they could have enacted any number of regulations which would have required proof of age.
To he and others, it was really less about health and more about the state making sure to collect its highest in the nation tax per pack.
And this claim about children is a farce.
And among the hot new fads was the perhaps thankfully short-lived sport of toe wrestling this week in 2003. 30 years ago this week, an up-and-coming local trio took to the stage at Thursdays at the Square. Look carefully now as we pose this week's News to You pop quiz. Do you know what band this is? Just on the cusp of stardom this week in 1993. Remember, this was back when Cy Sperling was still president of the Hair Club for Men, and remember, he was also a customer. When Fantasy Island opened for the season as Two Flags Niagara, a moniker they'd later dump, when kindergarten graduations were still a relatively new thing, and when
police say a 24-year-old woman has been charged with malicious wounding.
It was the talk of talk radio today.
All about a Virginia couple and their certain slice of history.
Seen about 4 cops checking that field out over there looking for something.
There was a reconciliation of sorts, not of their marriage, but a recoupling nonetheless, following a 10-hour surgery and more than a stitch in time.
They put something in a bag. I don't know what it was.
The husband, whose name would become the source of endless punchlines and who was, of course, originally from Buffalo, tried to cash in on his notoriety and pay his mounting medical bills, even forming a band called The Severed Parts. Not much more we need to add here other than to say, yep, it really has been 3 decades now since you first heard the names of John and Lorena Bobbitt, this week at 1993, when it was all news to you.
Thank you, Dave. So here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. We asked if you recognize this trio of local musicians who were on the cusp of stardom when they were playing a gig at Thursdays at the Square in downtown Buffalo. Who are they, Patrick?
Come on.
I know. I told Dave that this one was too easy. Yeah. He's like, it was too easy.
It's kind of cool, though, to think, still this, relatively small concert experience launched them into
superstardom.
Exactly.
So that, of course, was the Goo Goo Dolls, in case you didn't know. And that was before their big album, A Boy Named Goo, came out in 1995. So 93, they were still playing the local gigs.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And they've aged well. I mean, they still look young.
Didn't they do the Thanksgiving Day Parade last year?
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Or the year before.